Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, Jay-Z Courtside, coming at y'all today on Monday, July 13th. Welcome on in, everybody. I hope your Summer League team won over the weekend. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I hope it was fulfilling. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's episode, we are going to be talking about all the news that broke down over the NBA weekend, talking about extensions, some really good extensions, and some really questionable and we'll be talking about all the extensions over the weekend. We'll be talking about some interesting topics on why the NBA has a major problem on their hands. And then on top of all of that, today is the beginning of our summer series where we are going to break down every single team in each episode in the B block, talk about what they've done, talk about what they've got, and talk about where they're going. All right? That's going to be the plan. We're going to go alphabetical. So today's episode, if you guys know the alphabet, you guys already know who's going to dominate our B block. And of course, throughout the summer, I'm going to be uploading these all as like long form videos. So however long the segment for each team is going to be, I'm going to be uploading that separately on Tuesday, for example. So tomorrow, since there's no podcast, this will be my way of continuing to upload long form videos on top of shorts, on top of podcasts. So I hope you guys are excited for all the content coming out on the podcast channel. Again, we do post documentaries on our main channel, Jay-Z Uncut. If you guys would like to check it out, be sure to go and do so. Podcast listeners, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. TikTok, YouTube, be sure to drop a like, follow, subscribe. Twitch chat, you guys already know. You guys got the easiest job in the whole entire world. Just sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee or an energy drink, and enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to headline the episode with Victor Wembanyama taking a team-friendly deal, signing a 5-year, $252 million rookie-scale contract extension with a player option in his 5th season. Now, in case you guys are unaware, Wemby took a 5% discount. 5%. And I know you guys are saying, well, it's only 5%. Who cares? 5% really clears their books. Instead of taking the 30% Supermax, which would then make the contract $303 million, this way, they are actually able to still bring talent around him. So I know people are looking at that saying like only 5%. Guys, he left $51 million on the table. $51 million. That's how badly this kid wants to win. He just reached the finals for the first ever time. And now he's taking a $51 million contract deduction. Now, I was telling my Twitch chat before I started today's stream that I went to Virginia over the weekend. It was my fiance's 4th cousin's 5th birthday. So we went there, and in case you guys don't know, and I don't want anybody to take this out of context or whatever, but kids love me, okay? And I don't mean that to sound weird. Kids absolutely adore me. When I was younger, I was always stuck at the kids' table, obviously, because I was a kid. As I grew up, I've learned that my personality, for some reason, gives kids the confidence to talk and be themselves and just, you guys know kids. You guys know how they are. Well, I was at this family gathering, and I've never met anybody there, right? This is my first time meeting this entire half of my fiance's family. Believe me, there's a reason why I'm telling you guys this story. I'm talking to the adults. I'm hanging out, having fun, getting to know everybody. I'm very, very good at meeting new people. I don't have a nervous bone in my body. But then, 12-year-old, one of my fiance's cousins, a 12-year-old came up to me and heard that I make basketball content. And right from there, him and a couple other kids were glued to me the rest of the time there. I couldn't have a full conversation with any of the adults because I got the kids pulling my arm trying to play 82-0 with me. I got the kid pulling my arm trying to play NBA trivia with me. I'm talking to the adults and they're all stuck to me. Now, in case you guys are wondering, why don't I just tell them to like move or just tell them I'm done talking to you? When I was a kid, real quick, my older cousins would always tell me to shut up. My older cousins would bully the hell out of me. My older cousins, quite literally, one of them, and I reminded him that he did this not too long ago. I was talking to him, just talking to my older cousin, who is 13 years older than me. And he told me, and I quote, and I remember this like it was yesterday. He said, "Bro, can you shut the hell up? You are so annoying." He told that to me when I was 11 years old. I'm 28 now, and that stuck with me. So I made it my vow to never tell a kid to shut up or to make them feel like they're not heard, because I still feel that. So now any kid, especially relative, that ever tries talking to me, I make sure that they're heard. And what I was hearing from this kid, now he might tune in one time, so I'm not, he's a very nice kid. He's my fiance's fourth cousin. He wanted to talk basketball. This is a 12-year-old, chat. He was born in 2013. He's turning 13 this year. He's 12 years old. He was born in 2013. Like, think about that real quick. He wasn't alive at the start of the Heatles. He wasn't alive to see Dirk win. Well, I got a 12-year-old's opinion on the NBA, one that watches the NBA a lot. I promise there's a story. This kid told me, and the other kids were telling me too, they hate Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because he's not ethical. I can't stand the foul baiting and flopping. This is a 12-year-old telling me this. And then I said, whoa. Well, what do you think about Victor Wembanyama? I don't know, man. I'm quoting him word for word. I don't know, man. He's a flopper. He's not ethical. And I hated how he walked off the court when the Knicks beat him. Honestly, I don't like him. He's a loser. 12-year-old. 12 years old. That's his opinion on Victor Wembanyama and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So I asked him, who do you think the best player in the NBA is? I got two answers. One from a 10-year-old who was born in 2016. Chat. He was born in 2016. He missed summer 16. He missed the 3-1 comeback from Cleveland. He was born in 2016. Do you know how old I felt on Saturday talking to my fiance's all little cousins? Do you know how old I felt? I felt old. He told me, the 10-year-old, Anthony Edwards is the best player in the NBA. The 10-year-old told me that. Now, the 12-year-old, he couldn't give me an answer. He could not give me an answer. He doesn't know who the best player in the NBA is. Until I asked him, who do you think the worst player in the NBA is? His answer, Jalen Brunson. The reason why I'm telling you this is because hearing the opinions of younger audience members and older audience members is so different. I said Jalen Brunson won Finals MVP, but he's not ethical. Chat, when I tell you that whole ethical conversation, I don't understand. And TikTok is saying, why are you talking to little kids, Unc? I was meeting the half of my fiance's family. There was a bunch of kids there. They heard that I like the NBA and they wouldn't leave me alone. They're all talking to me about the NBA. So according to him, Jalen Brunson, the Finals MVP, is the worst player in the NBA. And according to the 10-year-old, who wasn't even alive during Lil Uzi Vert's prime, who wasn't alive during Summer 16, who wasn't alive during LeBron's 3-1 comeback, told me that Anthony Edwards is the best player in the NBA. And that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander sucks, and he's a foul baiter and a flopper, and he's not ethical. And Victor Wembanyama is a flopper and a sore loser, and he's not ethical. So, of course, I did what I always did, and I asked him about Cade Cunningham. And he told me something that was absolutely like flabbergasted. I've never heard anything say this. This must be with the kids. If there's any kids watching on TikTok, which I know there are, correct me if I'm wrong. I asked him, because you guys know me. I had to ask, what's your opinion on Cade Cunningham? The 12-year-old told me, and I quote, he hasn't lived up to expectations. And I said, what? What do you mean? And he said, yeah, when he came into the NBA, they said he was going to be a top 5 player. I said, when he came into the NBA, you were 7 years old. What do you know about what they were saying when he came into the NBA? Cade has already surpassed his expectations. What are you talking about? He was a top 5 player in the NBA. And then he said, no, he's not. And I said, last season, he was a top 5 player in the NBA. And he said, yeah, but he's not even top 15. And I said, wow. Wow. I said, Cade Cunningham was all NBA first team last year, which means he was a top 5 player in the NBA last season. He said, I don't know what all NBA is. And I said, okay. All right. The reason why I'm telling you this, I promise, every story I tell on stream makes sense. The reason why I'm telling you this is Victor Wembanyama took a 5% pay cut. That's $51 million he left on the table. But 12-year-olds hate Victor Wembanyama. I love the TikTok comments, bro. I love the TikTok comments. Why are we hanging out with 10-year-olds, fam? Because I'm at my family's gathering. I'm at my fiance. I'm meeting my family, my future family. That's why. You guys are weird, bro. You guys always want to make it weird. I'm meeting my fiance's half of the family. And there's kids there. And somebody told them that I make basketball content. So they came and talked to me. They don't like Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama isn't ethical. Victor Wembanyama is a flopper. Victor Wembanyama is a sore loser. Well, I'm telling you right now, this is major props to Victor Wembanyama. This is how bad he wants to win. That's how bad he wants to win. Compare that to Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren, who is still in contract negotiations with Trajan Langdon because he doesn't want to take a pay cut. Victor Wembanyama took a pay cut, but Jalen Duren doesn't want to take a pay cut. I love this for Wemby. This is going to give them an extra $51 million down the line to use on other players. It's very, very exciting to see what the San Antonio Spurs are building. And it really puts a spotlight on players who won't take a pay cut. Duren won't take a pay cut. He doesn't want to. Victor Wembanyama, the top 3 player in the NBA, he took a $51 million pay cut. Shout out Wemby. Shout out Wemby. Apparently, according by what I'm saying, chat, TikTok is saying, I don't know a ball. Yo, TikTok, if you guys are enjoying the show, be sure to come through to the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. The link is in my bio. Get away from all the moron fucks in the TikTok and come through to the Twitch stream. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. Let's move on to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this one is very interesting. I promise stick around because you're going to want to hear this. Free agent guard Gary Trent Jr. has agreed to a 4-year, $64 million deal to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, his manager is Rich Paul, same owner as LeBron, same owner as everybody. Do you guys want to talk about this? So, Gary Trent Jr. last year was getting DNPs. He was getting DNPs. Okay? He was getting DNPs. Last year, he averaged 8 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. He shot 38% from the field and 36% from the 3-point line. Chat, I'm not a big analytic guy. 8 points a game on horrible shooting splits, 38% and 36% from the 3. Got you $64 million. Now, let me teach you guys something that happened here. Basically, the Milwaukee Bucks circumvented the cap space. In case you guys are unaware, the Milwaukee Bucks cheated. They cheated. Now, let's look back at Gary Trent Jr.'s previous season. Okay? He played 74 games. He averaged, actually, was this the year before? No, yeah, it was. It was 11 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 43% from the field and 42% from 3. He had a really good season. A season that would have got him about $50 million. The Bucks did a handshake deal. They said, can you sign for a minimum next summer? We're trying to get Giannis more help. And we promise you, next year, we'll pay you. That's what happened. That is illegal. That is not allowed to happen in the NBA. Thank you, Bex, and thank you, Ezra, for the follows on Twitch. I appreciate you boys very much. Welcome to the Twitch stream. Again, I'm going to repeat myself if you guys are unsure of what I'm talking about. Gary Trent Jr. had a good year 2 years ago. They said, Gary, please take a pay cut. Take the minimum this year, and we promise we'll give you the contract that you deserve next year. We want to help Giannis as much as possible. We don't want to lose Giannis. Well, they went and got Miles Turner because they cut the price on Gary Trent Jr. They signed him to a minimum contract last year, chat. A minimum. And then this year, after getting DNPs, after playing horribly, he was horrible this year, they rewarded him with a contract that he deserved last summer. That is literally not allowed in the NBA. You are not allowed to do this in the NBA. So they circumvented the cap, which is essentially what the Los Angeles Clippers did with Kawhi Leonard and paying him under the table. This better go under investigation. Because Adam Silver, they're doing this right under your nose. This is a fully guaranteed 4-year, $64 million deal for a guy getting DNPs last year. And somebody in the TikTok said Draymond is doing it. Draymond is not doing that. Draymond is taking a pay cut to help his team, not expecting to get awarded next year. That's what Draymond is doing. This is quite literally take the minimum and then next year we'll give it to you. That is not the same thing. You are not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. According to the CBA, you are not allowed to do that. Nick, thank you so much for the follow. They are not getting LeBron James. I don't think you need to worry about LeBron joining Milwaukee. Taking a pay cut to help your team versus taking a pay cut for 1 year just to circumvent the cap and then paying you the following year, that's going to be interesting. I hope they investigate it because all due respect, Gary, I'm happy for you, my boy. I'm happy you got that money. Milwaukee, I don't know what the hell you're doing, bro. You got Miles Turner for $90 million. You got Gary Trent Jr. for $64 million. You got two guys that shouldn't be starting for any basketball team in the NBA, making $150 million. That is scary. That is scary. I know I see people commenting about LeBron, guys. LeBron's not on the topic right now. My apologies. And then on top of that, they are also paying Damian Lillard for the next, how many years, chat? 4? Let me just do a quick look around and see how long they're paying Damian Lillard. How long is he on the books? He is on the books until 2030. They're going to be paying Damian Lillard $22 million a year until 2030. Oh boy, chat. Oh boy. Oh boy. They are going to be paying Damian Lillard $22 million a year for the next 4 years, and he's not even on their basketball team anymore. Shout out Bradley Beal. Shout out Damian Lillard for both doing their things, man. All right, now that we talked about Gary Trent Jr., let's go ahead and move on to I guess I have 2 more quick topics before we talk about the Atlanta Hawks in depth. If you guys are a Hawks fan, we are starting our series that we're going to be doing all summer where we talk about every single NBA team for our B block episode, okay? For like the second half of the episode, for those of you that don't know what B block is. And today we're starting with the Atlanta Hawks, all right? Because we're going alphabetical. So on Wednesday, it'll be the Boston Celtics in the second half of the podcast. Cameron, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch. Nick, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Guys, shout out to all of you who are leaving the TikTok and coming through to the Twitch stream and dropping a follow. I appreciate you guys who do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday throughout the entire summer. And then during the NBA season, we are live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to join the Discord, guys. Exclamation point Discord in the chat. Nick, be sure to join the Discord. All right, y'all? Let's move on to our next topic. And that is Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero got into a physical altercation in Las Vegas on Friday in which Adebayo struck Tyler Hero. Now, I was at the bar when I got this notification. I was at the bar, and then it started coming on all on the TVs of Shams talking. And I was sitting there thinking, what? They got in a fight? Long story short, I guess Bam Adebayo confronted Tyler Hero about things that he's been posting since he got traded from the Heat. And then they got in a fight. I don't get it. So starting when Adebayo approached Hero about comments the Hero made critiquing the center on social media. So I guess Bam cracked Tyler Hero. So Tyler Hero has been a punching bag for the last 6 months. It's unfortunate. It's sad. I don't know why this happened, but I guess Bam Adebayo doesn't like Tyler Hero and Tyler Hero doesn't like Bam Adebayo. I realized I said cracked. I'm not pausing. But yeah, that happened. But yeah, Tyler Hero's been posting a lot of garbage ever since he got traded from the Miami Heat. Honestly, that's on Tyler Hero, bro. You're in Milwaukee, all due respect. I don't know. We'll see what happens. They'll probably get fined. I don't know. They'll probably get fined. Or they won't. They'll just brush it under the rug like they do, or like they do with everything, right? They probably will just ignore it. Now, my final quick topic before we talk about the Atlanta Hawks for a while. Dylan, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate you, baby. Thank you. I want to talk about the New Orleans Pelicans situation. All right. I want to talk about this. Guys, in case you don't know, the New Orleans Pelicans are making moves right now. They're making moves. They've traded no, that's not it. They've drafted no, that's not it either. That's not it either. They signed no. Wait, no, that is it. They did sign a free agent. In fact, they re-signed one of their vets. They signed DeAndre Jordan to a minimum deal, 1 year. Or so that's what Joe Dumars thought. They didn't give DeAndre Jordan a 1 year minimum deal. They gave him, because they couldn't give him a 1 year veteran minimum deal, they gave him 2 years, $7.9 million. Both of the years, I want to remind you, is fully guaranteed. Fully guaranteed. Now, I'm not going to sit here and insult DeAndre Jordan. That's not this topic. Love DeAndre Jordan. Do I think that 4 points a game, 6 rebounds, and 92 years old deserves $8 million? No, I don't. I don't think he deserves that at this point. He's 67 years old. Joe Dumars was unaware that he couldn't sign him to a 1 year minimum deal. And instead, he signed them a 2 year, $7.9 million deal. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Dumars deserves to go under investigation. I am coming up with a story. I believe Joe Dumars was sent to New Orleans as a double agent. One, to ruin the New Orleans Pelicans, thus forcing the New Orleans Pelicans to relocate. There is no way, shape, or form the New Orleans Pelicans have not made a single move this offseason. You won off the dome 26 games last year. 26 games. Is it 26? Someone correct me and say, no, Jay-Z, it's 27, just to make matters better for you. They won 26 games last year. And yet every player on this team is untouchable. Zion Williamson, you're untouchable. Trey Murphy III, we want 9 first-round picks for him. Jordan Poole, you're staying here, buddy. Peavy, you're locked in. Derek Queen, you're stuck here. DeJounte Murray, you're our point guard of the future. Jeremiah Fears, you're good. Missy, nope. We want 15 first-round picks and 62 second-round picks. Otherwise, no deal. Sadiq Bey, we want LeBron, Curry, and 17 first-round picks or no deal. Joe Dumars was sent to New Orleans to just bury their franchise even more. I'm sorry, there's no other explanation. He was a double agent. He was sent there to ruin the team just to convince the NBA to finally relocate them to, I don't know, Iraq. You had no first-round pick because Joe Dumars traded it. Your one move this summer as a 26-win team was re-signing DeAndre Jordan to a 1 year minimum deal, and you couldn't even do that right. You accidentally signed him for a 2 year, $8 million deal, Joe Dumars. I'm sorry to my one Pelican fan, Liam, in the Twitch chat. I'm sorry to all Pelicans fans around the world if you guys are out there. Oh, we got a Pels fan in the TikTok. Lewis, come to the Twitch stream. We have the biggest Pelicans fan in the entire world in my Twitch stream. Lewis, I need you over here in the Twitch. The link is in my bio, my boy. He said, as a Pels fan, this hurts me. He said, nah, you got two here. Lewis, I need you in the Twitch immediately. And then I need you in the Discord ASAP. ASAP Rocky. I need you over here, bro. I need you over here. Liam, it's your job to convince that guy to join and join the Discord as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for my short topics of the day. We have a very important episode, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be talking about the Atlanta Hawks extensively. All right, ladies and gentlemen, first we are going to go over what the Atlanta Hawks did. All right, I'm going to break down the Atlanta Hawks' offseason and also predict them going into next season. All right, this is the start of our summer series where we go over all 30 teams, starting alphabetically from the top, starting with the Atlanta Hawks. All right, now, the Atlanta Hawks last year, they went 46-36. In fact, I think they went on, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I think they went on like an 11-game win streak last year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. My brain is just so fat. That was after trading and acquiring CJ McCollum. So they got the 6th seed in the East, and they went up against the New York Knicks. In fact, they beat the New York Knicks twice. They beat the New York Knicks twice in the first round. And after they got that second win, they said, you know what? We're good. We don't need it anymore. And then they just sold for the rest of the playoffs. But it's okay. The GOAT baby, thank you for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate you. We're talking about the Atlanta Hawk. We'll talk about the Miami Heat when there's Miami Heat news and when we get to the Miami Heat episode. So they beat the Atlanta Hawks in 2 games, and they had a great playoffs. They had a great season. It was very accomplished. They had a great leap. They had the most improved player of the year, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They had a great veteran presence with CJ McCollum. They got rid of Trae Young, which was great, especially after the contract that he just signed with Washington. And they had the emergence of Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu, Dyson Daniels. They had so many great young players. Notice how I didn't say one of them. We'll talk about him in a bit. They had a great year, and they overachieved last year. So shout out to the Atlanta Hawks and what they did. Let's talk about what they've done this summer, okay? So this summer, they started their year off by drafting with the New Orleans Pelicans pick because they don't have a pick. They drafted Kingston Flemings, who, can somebody tell me, have you guys watched Kingston Flemings in the summer league? Has he played yet? I'm sorry, guys. All due respect, you guys know me. I don't watch much college ball other than March Madness. I heard Flemings is a great pick and that he was expected to go to Atlanta. He has not played in summer league yet. I appreciate it, but I hear that everybody loves this guy. I hear that he's got a really, 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 really high upside. So shout out to the Hawks for getting him. Seems like a good dude as well. I've seen him on a couple podcasts. They also got Zuby, who's a forward/center from St. John's for the number 23 pick. And then they also got Henry Visar from North Carolina. They traded up to get him. So they got they got 2 projects and a really good player in Kingston Flemings in the draft. So they got 3 young talent, which a team like this needs. On top of that, they traded for Aaron Wiggins from the Oklahoma City Thunder. He averaged 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 1.5 assists in 20 minutes. He shot 49% from the field and 38% from 3. You guys all know Aaron Wiggins, key bench role in Oklahoma. And now they got him, which then made them make another decision later on that we'll talk about. They also acquired Devin Carter from the Sacramento Kings, which another good pickup. They used the trade exemption from last year's Clint Capella sign and trade. And then free agents this summer. They re-signed CJ McCollum for a 1-year, $21 million deal. They re-signed Jock Landale for 1 year, $14 million deal. What a freaking steal for him. They also picked up Mohamed Gay's 2.4 team option and Buddy Hield's $9.6 million salary guaranteed, which is still a trade candidate. They can still trade Buddy Hield in a sign and trade. They also declined Jonathan Kuminga from returning, which was $24 million. Gabe Vincent and Tony Bradley are also expected to move on. And then Keaton Wallace is also a restricted free agent, which I don't know if they're going to bring him back. So now that we've gone through all of that, when they rejected Jonathan Kuminga's player option, that brought their salary cap all the way down to $165 million, chat. They are $35 million below their salary cap. Sorry, below their luxury tax. They are $35 million below their luxury tax. Not just that, they're $39 million below the first apron. And they are $80 million. No, I was wrong. Sorry. They are $60 million below the second apron. And when you look at their salary, chat, Jalen Johnson's locked in for 30 mil. He's locked in. Dyson Daniels locked in for 25 mil, which was an overpay. CJ 1 year, 21. Onyeka Okongwu's got 2 more years at 16 million. N'Keal, great discount. They're only paying him 30 million between this year and next. Jock Landale, 14 mil. Corey Kispert, 13 mil. And that's a guy that I'm going to skip and talk about in a bit. But yeah, Aaron Wiggins is also on a cheap deal. Fleming's rookie deal. Devin Carter, cheap deal. Zuby, rookie deal. They got money. They got money. And now if you guys are wondering, who's the player that I'm talking about? It's Zachary Richache. In case you guys are unaware, Zachary Richache is going to be a restricted free agent next summer. Right? Hawks fans, he's going to be a restricted free agent next summer, which means this is his contract year. They are eligible to extend him now, I think, right? Chat, was he drafted 3 years ago? No, he was drafted 2 years ago. He was drafted 2 years ago. Okay, so he is eligible for extension next summer. Oh, was he drafted 24? Yeah, he was drafted 2 years ago. Okay, so he is eligible for extension next summer, which means this year needs to be his big year. Now, there's problems with this. Do you just get rid of him? Do you just trade Zachary Richache? Because you got Aaron Wiggins now, and you have fully pushed him out of the rotation entirely. You have pushed him out of the rotation. You have Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You brought back CJ McCollum. You went and got Aaron Wiggins. You drafted Flemings. Do you just trade him now? Does he have any value? Do people look at Zachary Richache and say, maybe he still has some potential? Maybe. That's going to be a very, very perplexing and confusing decision to make. Let's talk about what else they have, chat. Their picks. They have the less favorable pick of Milwaukee and Pelicans next year for the first round pick. They got the more favorable pick in 2028. They got their 29 pick. They got their 30 pick. They got their 31 pick. They got their 32 pick. And they got their 33 pick. So by counting all of this up, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 first round picks. 7. They have all their picks. On top of that, they still have about 6 second round picks. So what we are talking about right now is a team that is going to be spending. They have 7 first round picks. They have 6 second round picks because they've been trading a lot of their second round picks. And then on top of that, they also have all of their first round picks. So when you look at this team, they're going to be buying. They are going to be buying. They're going to see, they're going to evaluate how's it going this year. And then they are going to play it by ear for next season. But in my opinion, I don't think they're going to bring back Jonathan Kuminga. I don't think they're going to bring him back unless he takes a crazy discount. But Jonathan Kuminga wants to start. Jonathan Kuminga wants a roll. So it's going to be very tricky what they're going to do with Jonathan Kuminga. But from the sounds of it, they could still do a sign and trade. So they could sign him and then just trade him the same day. I think that would be better than just letting him walk, to be honest. But first, right now, to be honest with everybody, I think the Hawks are going to be very, very talented. I think the Hawks are going to be pushing for a playoff spot this year. I think realistically, my guess for the Atlanta Hawks is that they overperformed last year. I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker shocked a lot of people. I think Jalen Johnson is going to also improve more. To be honest, I got to look at the Eastern Conference standings real quick and just remind myself. Because as we all know, with the NBA right now, especially the Eastern Conference, it's sort of insane. You have the Pistons, who are better than the Hawks. You have the Celtics, who in my opinion are still better than the Hawks. You have the Knicks, who are better than the Hawks. You have the Cavs, Depends on a lot of things. But for now, in my opinion, better than the Hawks. You have the Raptors, better than the Hawks. And then you have the Hawks, who are better than the Hawks from last year. You have the 76ers, who are better than the Hawks. You have the Magic, when healthy, are better than the Hawks. The reason why I was hesitating with the Cavs is because I was wondering, I was thinking about what other moves they're going to do. You have the Hornets, who are not better than the Hawks. You have the Miami Heat, who, if healthy, are better than the Hawks. And that's where the list gets cut off. Unless you look at the Indiana Pacers, who I don't believe are better than the Hawks, and the Washington Wizards, who I do not believe are better than the Hawks. So by looking at all of these teams, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that I had over the Hawks, which would put them at 9. And that's not to discredit this team. This is literally, I'm figuring this out as we speak. That is no disrespect to the Atlanta Hawks. I still think they're a great team. I think they're a great young team. But the teams ahead of them just have more. When I think star power and role players around them, like Cade, better than anybody on the Hawks for now. You have Jason Tatum and Paul George, who I'm taking not above Jalen Johnson, but I am taking Paul George over Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You got the Cavs. They have Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, possibly LeBron. The Knicks, obviously, I don't even need to say who's on their team. Brunson, Cat, OG, McCall, take your pick. The 76ers have Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, and, Joel Embiid. The Magic have Paolo and Franz, who's skinny again. Chat, when I say this, it's difficult. And then obviously the Heat got Giannis, the Raptors got Kawhi. When that goes through, I think the Hawks are going to be a play-in team next year. I think the Atlanta Hawks are going to be a play-in team in the East next year. I think that's going to be my prediction for now. I'm very excited to see what else they do this summer. Obviously, as we know, we are going to be doing this series throughout the summer. So we are going to be starting, obviously, today with the Atlanta Hawks. And we're going to be discussing the Boston Celtics on Wednesday in the Wednesday's B block. And then so on and so forth for the rest of the summer. And then obviously right before the season begins, about, I'd say, a month, we're going to be ranking each player in their position. So my top 10 centers in the NBA, my top 10 PGs in the NBA, my top 10 shooting guards, and so on and so forth. And then we're going to be actually predicting our standings and predictions as to how the NBA season goes. So this offseason is going to be very, very fun. We're going to start with talking about each team. And then after that, that'll put us about end of August. So then around the start of September is when we were going to be ranking each position, the top 10 players in each position. And then we are also going to be ranking my Eastern Conference standings, my playoff bracket, and everything going on into before the NBA season starts. All that should be set before the NBA preseason begins. So if you guys have any questions or concerns, be sure to come through to the Twitch stream and ask me. I see all those messages posted in there. I think my ultimate answer for the Atlanta Hawks about who are they, what have they done, and where are they going? I think the Atlanta Hawks are very happy with how their last season went. They're very happy. They're ecstatic. But they're sort of like the Detroit Pistons from last year. I think they're very happy with the results, and they don't want to do anything crazy they don't want to change the course of the ship. They sort of want to evaluate their season up ahead, and then that's where they'll make their decisions. So I am excited to watch the Atlanta Hawks. I think they're going to be a very good team, but I think sort of like the Charlotte Hornets of last year, I think they're not going to be catching as many teams off guard as they did last year. And on top of that, there's no teams tanking anymore. So a lot of their wins, I do want to remind you all, just before you guys think that I'm over here disrespecting the Hawks, if you go back and look at their 11-game winning streak, I talked about this last season. They versed the Brooklyn Nets. They were tanking. They versed the Wizards. They were tanking. They were versing the Wizards again. They were tanking. They were versing the Portland Trailblazers. They were missing everybody. They versed the Milwaukee Bucks. They were tanking. They were versing the Philadelphia 76ers without Tyrese Maxey, without Paul George, and without Embiid. They were up against the Dallas Mavericks. They were tanking. They were up against the Brooklyn Nets. They were tanking. They were up against the Milwaukee Bucks. They were tanking. They were up against the Orlando Magic. We all know the Magic in the regular season. They probably weren't healthy. They were up against the Dallas Mavericks. They were tanking. So when I tell you to take their win streak with a grain of salt, I mean it. I'm excited to watch them next year, but overall, I think I have the Atlanta Hawks being a play-in team. We'll obviously see more moves that they'll make throughout the season, so I'm sure this video, my answer might change. This was recorded on July 13th, 2026, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Guys, that's all I got for today's podcast, all right? Wednesday's episode is going to be predominantly about the Boston Celtics in the B block. I want to say thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, if you guys want more stream, we are still live on Twitch. That's Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. The link is in my bio. Shout out to Digital for coming through to the Twitch and dropping a follow. I'd love to shout out all of you guys that come through to the Twitch. The link is in my bio. Podcast listeners, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. TikTok, YouTube, be sure to drop a like, follow, subscribe, share the show with your friends, cousins, ex-husbands, neighbors, dogs, nephews. And guys, I got nothing left to say except for thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, y'all, thank you for watching / listening. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Or sorry, my apologies. I'll catch you guys Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Love y'all and have a blessed day.